This is considered an aggressive visibility filter. You silenced members of Congress from communicating with their constituents. You silenced me from communicating with the American people over a freaking joke. Now, who the hell do you think that you are?
Go get her, girl. Go get her, girl. She has bigger cooliones than most guys that I know. Now, that's real feminism at work. She's doing what's best for the people of the world. And by the way, the other day you were saying something about, I don't trust the water. But you came in here, you were having Tim Hortons coffee. Where do you think they get the water from? Where do you think they get the water from? Exactly.
I'm part of the matrix still.
You look like a confused cat. I was going to say pussy, but I don't want to get a smack in the head. But we have to watch you don't go too far down the rabbit hole. Okay? So
Is there such thing, though?
You have to put things into perspective, and you stay in a happy medium. And that way you're protected from both sides. And you discern, you make a better direction for yourself. Guys, people should have to start thinking for themselves. If they accept everything, that means they'll stand for anything. Now's not the time to gamble.
It's not.
Now's the time to protect what you have. Not to try and grow, it's try to protect what you have. In other words, lose less than everyone else.
But what if it's somebody like me who doesn't drink coffee or tea, for that matter? What is my solution?
Alzheimer's.
Heart problems, and you're losing their pulse. Cayenne pepper, a bit of water, automatically
thins the blood. Makes the viscosity thinner.
Yep.
So does higher dosages of vitamin E, but the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know that. No. You have to keep taking our blood thinners.
It's untested, they say. They're never going to test it because they can't patent it.
Listening to you talk, such sense in that cat mask is a little
weird.
Yeah. It's good I'm able to discern things. Speaking of breaking news, in the lovely province of Ontario, worries of even a deadlier pandemic start with chickens. So we're going to have a hendemic.
Montana bill would allow students to misgender classmates.
Oh God!
You actually need a permission to say anything in U.S. specifically, the land of the free,
Misgender. Why not Mr. Gender?
It didn't matter, right?
Well, video games melt kids' brains? No, says a new study. What they don't tell you was the new study was funded by all the video game manufacturers.
Eve was the first one to eat the fruit off the tree.
Oh, we're really going to go that way?
Yeah, we're going to go that way.
I don't think we should.
No, we should. And then, she tasted the fruit, and then she came to Adam and said, Adam, now you should taste the fruit. And he's like, no, this, the God told me not to taste this. This is the covenant I've made, and this is the law, blah, blah, blah. She's like, but Adam, if you don't eat it, we won't be able to procreate. And that's the contrast between this is something we need to do as humanity, but there's some darkness in that space.
You think?
And good day, brothers and sisters. And what a glorious day to be here with us at the Glenn Zone Alex Sass Show. It is the best show on YouTube. You can tell because you're watching this right now. And definitely subscribe, because if you haven't subscribed yet, you're probably going to experience some of the shadow banning because of the things that we are talking about today. We're not hoping to get shadow banned, but we are in Canada, and we have those things like C11 trying to get through, which we will resist, and Matrix is not going to win. We are the winners. We are winning. The good is winning right now. Whatever good is, are you choosing the side now? Are you on the side of the good? Are you on the side of the light? Yes, you are. That's why you're watching the show. And if you're still on the fence and you're choosing like, oh, you need to have a little bit of the darkness in you to be able to survive in this world. Yeah. Right now it is the time to make that choice. And you don't need any of the darkness. Darkness no longer serves any purpose. It probably had some purpose before, because we lived in this world where you had to manage and manifest things in the way that wasn't necessarily the way we wanted to. But no longer. We are the light. We are the light bringers. We love you. So I don't know, Anonymous, what's the dealie? Today we're going to show you a face, and we heard you identify as a cat, and now we're able to show you.
This is the mask they gave me, by the way. This was not my choice.
Well, we were sick of looking at your chest. It was not. We got some complaints.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, is that why?
I didn't mean it. I
Thank you
didn't
for
mean
letting me
it.
know.
I didn't mean it in that way, but that's what it is. And you know, we do have Glenn Herring, aka
Anonymous.
what's up?
Very good. Yourself, Alex?
I'm doing amazing.
Alex, the man, the big man.
Yeah, that's well.
You got jokes.
Yeah, you got jokes. Well, we need this. We need this in our world. You know, we have two masked guys, and you do need a mask nowadays.
Again.
But I feel like you know we no longer need to hide. So if you are still wearing a mask for whatever reason. Oh, by the way, did you hear that news? I don't know if I'm going to pull it up just now. They're now saying that the mask no longer serve the purpose, and then they actually proved it.
I mean, they've been saying this for a while.
No, but now they're making this an official statement. They're saying this is, you know, like
Canada Health or just mainstream
I'll pull it up.
social media?
I'll put it up in a second. But
Goodbye, mask.
we no longer need to hide our beautiful faces. So I don't know. There's a lot of news to cover. It's amazing. It's amazing time to be living. It's a bit sad time to be living in too. There's a lot of tragedy going on in the world, but we're gonna try to get through this in a way where it makes sense to all of us. And it's still the changes are happening, and the changes are happening for the better. Even if you're struggling right now at this moment, at this point in time, it is for your personal growth. If it's for the growth for all of us, and as you're getting better, the world is getting better because all of us are in this together. But individually, we got to get stronger. So without further ado, let's just really watch this clip, and I'm gonna just switch to this. What do you guys know about rap Lauren Bobbitt? Let's watch
We're
this.
seeing censorship all over. Mr. Roth, Miss Gaddy, did either of you approve the shadow banning of my account at Lauren Boebert? Yes or no?
No, I did not.
Not to the best of my recollection.
Well, let me refresh your memory, because on March 12th, 2021, and Mr. Roth, I know you looked at it because Fascist Twitter 1.0 had a public interest exceptions policy, which means for members of Congress to be shadow banned, it had to go before you, Mr. Roth. So I'll ask again, did you shadow ban my account? Yes or no?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
So the answer is, Mr. Roth, yes, you did. I found out last night from Twitter staff that you suppressed my account for this tweet. It's a freaking joke about Hillary Clinton being angry that she couldn't rig her election. It's a joke. But in response, being the sinister overlords that you all are, you placed a 90-day account filter so I could not be found. And now we see here that Twitter staff said the visibility filter on my account excluded me from top searches, prevented notifications for non-followers, and much more. This is considered an aggressive visibility filter. You silenced members of Congress from communicating with their constituents. You silenced me from communicating with the American people over a freaking joke. Now, who the hell do you think that you are?
Go get her, girl. Go get her, girl. She has bigger cooliones than
Yeah,
most
she
guys
does.
that I know. Now that's real feminism at work. She's doing what's best for the people of the world.
And
her
Not this
constituents.
fake feminazi feminism that's out there that was as part of an
Wishy-washy.
agenda. This one, she's a leader. She's on our side. Good on to you, dear.
What a great
The
week to be
stronger
alive.
the light, the more you expose the darkness, okay? And then they run away like little cockroaches. They're
But
terrified.
look at their faces. Look at their faces. They're bright red. They're embarrassed. They're scared. You can see they're scared.
the people that being interviewed, or would it be an interview and interrogation? What would you call that? Hold on, let me show the faces.
That's a perp walk.
Yeah, right there.
Look. Oh, I didn't do it. Don't yell at me.
My anus is puckering just as much as my face is getting tight.
They made me do it. FBI did it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're on the side of the light right now, and this is happening more and more. Glenn, I mean, what else can we cover today? No, I want to talk about something else. Well, there's something earthquake in Turkey. We had this. That's a tragedy.
Big
tragedy. There's no really jokes around this.
So far, a minimum of 20,000 people confirmed dead. That's men, women,
I saw
children.
17,000 today, which 17 actually is a number for Q, right?
Okay? The whole world gets very sad at a tragic thing like that. But then when you have these fake, phony, and false wars, banker wars, being made in the world, and they kill more people than that, oh, everybody turns an eye to that. We don't. Oh, that's okay. It's because we're used to wars. Hey, it's part of humanity. No, it's not.
Isn't it a coincidence though? Like is it a coincidence?
Wait, do you have the article where Turkey voted against Switzerland and Finland?
Well, it just happened. Yeah, Turkey voted against
2 days prior.
Yeah, we
to
don't
the
even need to pull up.
That's to be brought into
NATO.
NATO or
Yeah.
the European
It's a
Union?
NATO.
And since Turkey is a NATO
NATO
vote was-
member, they have to vote 100%. Everybody,
Yeah, and they were the
anonymous, right?
deciding. Yep, and they were deciding factor.
And they were
North
deciding
Atlantic Treaty Organization. That sounds like a real organization. That organization has to be disorganized, disbanded, and better for the people.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it served its purpose maybe at some point. Like what would
Never. UN
it
was,
never really. It's
infiltrator into something they portrayed themselves as for the human rights, where they actually wanted to infiltrate countries and be the first in the conflict and benefit from the conflict.
Well, the original purpose of the NATO was to make sure that the Soviet Union does not spread
The
its
Holocaust.
influence.
The Holocaust never happens again.
Well,
That's what the NATO UN was created.
that also to protect. Like eventually, then they took on the face of the world savior from Soviet Union and its influence. And then when the wall fell apart,
What were you protecting
what were
from?
you protecting from? But the NATO continued to grow. And for the NATO to be able to grow, they always needed the enemy. So that enemy became Russia, right? Well, nowadays it's also China. And now they're talking, the Russia seems like, oh, that conflict is dying out, or it no longer serves its purpose, because actually Russian GDP is growing compared to all other
Countries that,
involved. And honestly, the West is involved. If they continue to supply intelligence, if they continue to supply military equipment, if
It's
they continue
indirect.
to train, if they continue to finance, I mean, they blow up the pipelines.
this week it was affirmed.
This week it was affirmed. Yeah, the U.S. did it.
That U.S. did it. And
Yeah, actually-
anything is...
This is why we're paying more for oil prices, because Mr. Biden said, let's blow up that Nord Stream. And he got caught. He's in a pickle.
And English, what's her name, that was there for a month? The prime minister, the woman that was there for a month?
That was her only job, is to blow up the pipeline.
That's the only job, because she had tweeted, she had messaged somebody that they have messaged her, their cell phone message to US. I don't know who she tweeted to, messaged. And she said, the text message read, "It's done." And it was right after the explosion.
Yeah, now we know why we have inflation. That's part of it. The other part of it is central banks printing more money to give to the government, because the government is spending more than it's taking in. If the government were a business, it would be bankrupt. That's a non-solvent
But they
entity.
are bankrupt.
It should be dissolved.
Corporate, Royal Corp, bankrupt. They filed bankruptcy in 2017. A lot of people don't know that either. So what do we have right now? People are like, oh, well, if it was bankrupt, they wouldn't be able to exist. No, they're just existing under a different chapter.
Listening to you talk,
Yeah.
such sense in that cat mask is a little
Weird.
Yeah. It's good I'm able to discern things.
Back to Glenn and his discernment. Let's go to the. I didn't pull up the article on Biden and the Nord Stream, but everybody's aware of this. I mean, one of the things that we're talking about is like, oh, Nord Stream, Russians blew it up themselves. Yeah, they're gonna blow up their own revenue stream. Like they
how
just invested.
stupid
That's
was
just
that? Yeah.
they just invested billions of dollars. Oh, that's part of the long-term game. Let's let them invest. Yeah, what's up?
Just last night, I asked a gentleman in the gym, I said, why do you think Putin and Russia invaded Ukraine? Because he was pro-Ukraine. He said, oh, Putin's a bad guy. I said, why do you think he did it? And he said, I don't know. I said, well, maybe you should find out first.
Yeah,
Because I
before.
can tell you, if you were in the same position on that hot seat, you would have done it a long time ago. He's a very patient man. Very
Too
patient.
patient.
And we should be wary that he should stay in power, because if he goes down, the people willing to take his place are going to be a lot more aggressive and a lot less patient than he is.
That's true. Military boards had him make a statement. Lavrov, their deputy, said that the war will be decided by February 24th. That people will know the truth, they said. My Catwoman. Okay, I got it.
Well, if we still on this Ukrainian world story subject, let's do this one. A Moldovan PM resides blaming crisis caused by Russian aggression. Hold on, let me pull this up so you can all see it. Okay. So Moldova, right, pro-Western government has resigned after 18 months in power following a serious economic and political crisis that have engulfed the country in the wake of Russian invasion of Ukraine.
She's saying, I'm getting out while the getting still good.
But it also is like, oh, it just happened because Russia. No mention of sanctions. No mention of like, let's not do business with Russia anymore. More than that, let's punish all of your businessmen that do. In Moldova is. Do you know Moldova? Where's the Moldova's location? The people even know. How many people you think can point out Moldova on the map?
Less than 5%.
Less than 5%. What are the chances? Hold on. I'll just for the curiosity, I'll pull it up on the second, so we'll show them. What is the anonymous? What is the significance of this event with Moldova?
Border trafficking. Borders are being closed.
Trafficking what?
Children? Human trafficking?
Again.
Any trafficking. But human trafficking is the biggest industry.
One
Organs.
good thing that I heard the other day is a child molester. He got convicted for abusing a child, sexually abusing a child. And right away, he took sodium nitrate and he killed himself right there in front of everybody.
In court?
Yep.
How did he get his hands on it?
I don't know.
Is that the news?
I don't think you need that much of it, though.
No.
Is that the news? Is it one of the news we wanted to cover?
No. That just came out. I just read that this morning. So, like, it's better he did himself.
Because he knew the justice he was going to get in jail.
But he also did humanity a justice, because pedophiles never get better. It's not an error. Okay? There's something wrong. There's not a hope for them. Okay? They're just, I don't know, it's evil. They're possessed. But to do something like that against a little child, let's unite and get rid of them all. Okay?
Death penalty for...
What people are going to be surprised is just how many of them there are out there.
Yep.
All the red shoes, right? You heard like everybody who wears the red shoes is
that is the skin of the children that they.
That's the skin of the That's.
I can't even
go on this. So that's a Moldova thing, right? So go back to Moldova. If you can.
Well,
boom.
Belarus and Poland, their borders right now are closed as well.
There's been, but Moldova, if you look down to the map, you can see this right here. Yeah, right there. It's the right on the western border of Ukraine, right? And that's the Pridnestrovyan region. That's actually where the Russian military is also located. What's going on that, Mrs.?
I want to pull out a picture of, I'm going to send it to you, of the maps are being printed all over the east.
This cat can do several things at the same time.
What? Glenn, you got jokes today. Okay, get it. Of them showing new borders of Ukraine. Did you see that map?
No.
Made my heart sing.
What do you mean? Are you being racist?
What?
Okay, send it to me. I'll post it on the. I'll show it on the second. I'll show it on the second. Let's go back to the earthquake, though. Let's go back. Talk about earthquake. I mean, some people say it's a conspiracy theory that UN had something to do with this. Well, not UN, United States specifically, and that they right away disclaim it as conspiracy theory. The earthquake in Turkey, if you read some of the tweets, earthquake in Turkey looks like a punitive operation by HAARP, by NATO or US against Turkey. Those lightning strikes are not normal in the earthquake, but always happen in the HAARP operations. Oh, did you see that video? Oh, let me pull that video up.
What, that red thing over the sky?
Yes, let me pull that video up. Look at that. I'll show you this. That one.
Oh, this is like an hour? Was it right before the earthquake?
Right before the earthquake.
This is what they saw. This is crazy. Have you ever seen lightning like that?
Well, maybe I did, but that's too coincidental, isn't it?
And then the city goes dark.
And the HAARP is a microwave city, microwave technology. So right.
Look at it. What's with the color?
Anyways, that's what we saw.
I just sent you the
And
map.
what else had happened? What else has happened? Right? It triggered a lot of earthquakes everywhere in the world. There was earthquake actually upstate New York and Buffalo. There was earthquake in New Zealand.
Quebec has been experiencing multiple.
Quebec, earthquake in Alaska, and pretty significant ones. Earthquake in South America. Where else?
I thought the HAARP in Alaska was closed.
Well, when we use HAARP, we use as a HAARP technology. I'm sure they have something else already that we don't know about. Glenn, what do you think? You think that is plausible? Like, do you actually, it could be like Tesla type of technology or something we can't even.
Or it could be just coincidence, and maybe, you never know to discern the truth from the fake, phony, and false. But we have to watch you don't go too far down the rabbit hole. Okay, so
Is
you
there
have to
such thing though?
You have to put things into perspective, and you stay in a happy medium, and that way you're protected from both sides, and you discern. You make a better direction for yourself. Guys, people should have to start thinking for themselves. If they accept everything, that means they'll stand for anything.
And fall for anything, too.
Fall for anything. Drop.
All right. Well, you know what I see people falling for recently? People falling for financial advice. You should invest into Sun Life. You should buy this long-term bonds and all this other stuff. But it's not even conspiracy theory. The CEO of the second largest bank is preparing for possible U.S. debt default. Did you see that story?
No, I'm looking over at this. Sorry, I got distracted.
That's good.
That's your fault.
The CEO of Bank of America, America's second largest bank, told Hope's lawmakers resolve the issues because the market and economy love stability, yet defaulting on the country's debt remains a possibility that cannot be ignored. That's CNN. That is not some conspiracy news. Well, CNN is the biggest conspiracy, but
the clown news network.
But we
Right.
can weigh in what the mainstream is showing, though, as I call normies.
The mainstream media muppets, MS&Ms.
Glenn's on fire today.
What do you think? Like, what would be, Glenn? What would be the financial advice that you give to the masses right now? Like, let's say, okay, I have 20 grand somewhere invested in some kind of financial operation. Maybe it's in my savings account.
I like cash, but not in the bank.
But cash is going to default. Like, if it's going to default.
Yes, I know, but cash will be king right before that period.
Yeah, they said cash will serve a point when everything falls, because that's the only thing you can use when you go to the stores the first week or so,
If you have the funds, also
gold, silver.
Art, precious art never loses its value.
I would do gold and silver.
Gold and silver, all tangibles. I know a lot about cryptocurrencies. I don't trust them yet. I know that we're going to evolve into some sort of blockchain crypto technology as a means of payment. But between now and then, that's basically just gambling. Now's not the time to gamble.
It's not.
Now's the time to protect what you have. Not to try and grow, is try to protect what you have. In other words, lose less than everyone else.
Does that make sense to invest into vitamin D?
Always. Vitamin D, D3, is very, very good for the immune system, especially in winter. North of the 37th parallel, it's been stated that over 80% of the population is vitamin D3 deficient.
Yeah.
Which lowers your immune system probably just as much as wearing a mask does all day long.
Can I intervene with here?
So you didn't like that mask thing?
Cat jokes won't stop. What people don't realize, for the D and C to bond to your in your cellular, because most of the time they're taking the flash through you. There's not much that stays. Boron. You need to take boron with vitamin D and C for it to bind to your system.
And zinc.
And zinc.
And,
well, zinc doesn't.
magnesium.
Yeah, magnesium. But zinc does not. Also doesn't bind unless you take boron as well.
Boron is the glue that brings it. So they don't tell you that. They're take vitamin D. They don't take all this vitamin C, but it's just gonna go through you. A bit will stay, but boron will bind it.
I wonder how much of these vitamins and minerals
And boron is
are in
borax.
Big Macs.
What do you mean? And big what?
Big Macs.
Well, they have the Big
Human
Mac.
meat is.
They have a Big Mac vitamin in it, right? Big Mac,
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
a new one? Yeah, that was not funny at all. Yeah, I should quit while I'm ahead. What else you can invest in? You can invest.
Cinnamon.
You can invest in cinnamon.
Cinnamon is great for, but actually you should try the G-Man Power Mochaccino coffee. Okay, what it is, it's just a black coffee with a half scoop of whey isolate chocolate protein and 2 or 3 shots of cinnamon. Oh, it's so good. You have to stir it up a lot, but it's so good. It gives you energy, it gives you protein, and it gives you memory and cognition for the mind because of the cinnamon.
But what if it's somebody like me who doesn't drink coffee or tea for that matter? What is my
Cinnamons.
solution?
Alzheimer's.
You are on fire today, Glenn.
Yeah, what's the dealie?
We're going to educate your taste buds.
As we spoke early, cayenne pepper. I was telling Glenn before we start filming, a lot of research came out and said if you see somebody experience cardiac arrest, heart problems, and you're losing their pulse, cayenne pepper, a bit of water, automatically
thins the blood. Makes the viscosity thinner.
Yep.
So does higher dosages of vitamin E, but the pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know that. No. You have to keep taking our blood thinners.
It's untested, they say. They're never going to test it because they can't patent it. That's the catch-22 right here.
Very good. Very
Not
good.
anything
Anonymous.
natural could not be patented, so they will never spend any money on research.
Meow to you.
So the doctors always say, we don't know, it hasn't been tested, because it will never be tested.
That's a good point, Anonymous. Oh, let's speaking of pharmaceutical industry. Look at this joke.
Look at that garden gnome. How much trouble this guy has caused in the world. Well, his group of people. The face of trouble. Look at that.
Well, Dr. Fauci admits that the what do we call them? Medicine, the cupcakes didn't have a chance of controlling the pandemic. Now, well, that's somehow the news now after
You gotta be kidding.
They used it. Yeah, look at it. You gotta be kidding me. Anthony Fauci just published an article pointing out the viruses that replicate in mucosal passages cannot be effectively controlled by vaccines that create systematic immunity. That after 3 years, he just announces this obvious point, right? And it's not like nobody was screaming about this. As a matter of fact, let's go back to. I want to go back to that Twitter thing. Can we go back to that Twitter thing? I'm going to pull it up. So talk amongst yourself for a minute. What I'm saying is
Well, now, speaking about COVID, while you're pulling up the Twitter thing, there's a new variants out there called Orthrus. Orthrus. Okay? And it's an alarming mutation that beats vaccines. By the way, viruses mutate on average every 12 minutes. So there's going to be no shot for this one. But we're taking shots for everything today. We're taking shots for flu shot, hepatitis, the monkeypox, if you're still allowed to say that, a shot for shingles. You know, you're turning into a walking zombie of a human dartboard.
That's all they want is shots. Anything they have, give it to me. It's like they're like addicted to
Now,
it.
I used to take a lot of shots too, but shots of Jack Daniels, you know,
I knew
like
you were going to
that.
say that.
All right, let's watch
Oh,
this.
this
Let's
made my
watch
heart
let's
happy.
watch this for a second. Oh, where's the sound? Okay.
To you people. I, along with many Americans, have long-term effects from COVID. Not only was I a long hauler, but I have effects from the vaccine. It wasn't the first shot, but it was the second shot that I now developed asthma that has never gone away since I had the second shot. I have tremors in my left hand, and I have the occasional heart pain that no doctor can explain, and I've had a battery of tests. I have great regrets about getting the shot because of the health issues that I now have that I don't think are ever going to go away. Where did you go to medical school?
I did not go to medical school.
I'm sorry.
I did not go to medical school.
That's what I thought. Why do you think you or anyone else at Twitter have the medical expertise to censor a doctor's expert opinion?
Our policies regarding COVID were designed to protect individuals. We were seeing
You guys censored Harvard-educated doctors, Stanford-educated doctors, doctors that are educated in the best places in the world, and you silenced those voices. You're not a doctor, right, Ms. Gaddy?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What makes you think you or anyone else at Twitter have the medical expertise to censor actual, accurate CDC data?
I'm not familiar with these particular situations.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not. It's not just about the laptop. This is about medical
sure.
advice that expert doctors were trying to give Americans because social media companies like Twitter were silencing their voices. Did the U.S. government ever contact you or anyone at Twitter to pressure Twitter to moderate or censor certain tweets? Yes or no?
We have a program.
Did
Oh,
US
the answer is
government
yes. When she
contact
does that,
you
the
or
answer is
anyone at
yes.
Twitter to censor or moderate certain tweets? Yes or no?
We receive legal demands to remove content from the platform from the U.S. government and governments all around the world.
Thank God for Matt Taibbi. Thank God for Elon Musk for allowing to show us in the world that Twitter was basically a subsidiary of the FBI.
Oof.
Speaking of breaking news, in the lovely province of Ontario, worries of even a deadlier pandemic start with chickens. So we're gonna have a hendemic.
No, that was weak.
Pun
that was weak. Yeah,
intended.
that was Glenn, you could do better than that one. But it's okay.
Must be all those toxic masculinity roosters running around, spreading disease.
Do you know why they're eliminating chickens now, right? But we talked about eggs. It has nothing to do. They're so contaminated, these chickens now. There's no way around it.
You
It's
think
to
it
destroy
has
them.
nothing to do other than the yolk is actually like a good antiviral protection.
Besides
because it
that,
blocks
but
the-
a lot of it is GMO. A lot of these chickens are GMO chickens.
I heard McDonald's was feeding chickens now. That's why they're all, passing away.
Bill Gates was feeding him. Didn't he buy the biggest poultry farms?
He's buying all the farms.
well,
That's true.
He's the biggest landowner in America.
the U.S.
Yeah.
I told that to somebody. They're like, "No, he's not.
what about
Black Rock is." Oh God, one evil over the other evil.
Yeah, well, what about this new variant, new COVID variant, Arthros, found the alarming
one?
mutation
Yeah.
that beats vaccines.
Orthros.
Arthros.
What does Orthros
You
stand
have to
for,
wear
definition?
4 masks with that. You got to wear 2 masks under your cat mask.
Sorry,
Well, but,
Glenn.
but what did they come up with name like this? Arthros.
I want to look it up. What is Orthros? It means something.
I don't know what it means.
Let's Wikipedia that,
Yeah, Wikipedia is going to tell you exactly what that means, isn't it?
isn't it? But to the normies, it is.
It's
The derivative of Toys R Us.
the
or
latest
RS.
variant to cause concern among health officials is believed to beat existing vaccines as it spreads through the US, UK, and China. Isn't it exactly what Fauci just said? Like, oh yeah, we can't really stop anything with the medicine that we're giving it to people because of factors like this because it
Oh.
mutates all the time. What?
You know who Orthros was in Greek mythology?
What?
Is two-headed dog who guarded Gerion's cattle and was killed by Heracles.
Hercules.
No,
Heracles is
Heracles.
Hercules, yeah.
Heracles.
Heracles.
He was the offspring of the monster Echidna and Typhon.
Well,
Multi-headed dog.
Mm.
Mm.
what does it even mean, right? What? So how do you interpret this?
Multi-headed dog. Isn't Revelation speaks of multi-headed monster?
Let's
that
not pick on the
rises up?
dogs here. We have our mascot Rambo the Rottweiler
Cannot point camera to him, unfortunately.
sleeping on the floor right by my legs here, right by my feet. And
He
he's
was
just
freaked
being
out to
good.
see me in the mask.
Well, he was a little unsure, you
He
know.
was like, "Who are you, lady?"
Yeah, who's the cat woman there?
Sitting in the corner.
All right, let's talk about another disease. I mean, that's a mental disease. Montana bill would allow students to misgender classmates.
Oh God.
You actually need a permission to say anything in U.S. specifically, the land
Apparently.
of the free, the land of the free.
Misgender. Why not Mr. Gender?
Oh yes, that was.
You see,
that
how
was
far
better.
down the rabbit hole do you want to jump in? You know, you're going to need a parachute on this one.
Misgender, Mr. Gender. That was better than pandemic, by the way. I'll give you that one.
Thanks.
Montana schools would not be able to punish students who purposely misgender or dead name their transgender peers under Republican-backed legislative proposal that opponents argue will increase bullying of children who are already struggling for acceptance.
Oh, dead name.
Anonymous, what does dead name means?
It's call a transgender person by their birth name when they have changed their name as part of their gender transition. Mm.
Oh, so like
So if you're Becky and now you're Michael,
no, the better one. If you are Michael and now you're Michelle.
Oh, snap.
Well, so Obama did this a couple of times. He called
His
Michelle
wife.
Michael.
Me and Michael.
Most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah, Michael and I also want to acknowledge your son Jack, who's deployed today.
Last night.
Me and Michael last night. We compared.
I mean, Michelle. I said Michelle.
This is not just in America. This is also happening in Canada, too.
Oof.
I was just reading yesterday, a young fella, high school, went to school, and in the class, he got up. They were talking about genders, and he said there were only 2 genders. Well, it seems like some other kids in the class got offended, so the teacher wanted him to rescind what he said and apologize. He refused to do it, so they threatened to throw the kid out of the school. He didn't do it. He came back the next day. The principal was there with 2 police officers to arrest the child for trespassing.
Oh.
Okay, all this stuff has been going on under the radar long enough.
This was in Canada?
This was in Canada,
What province so I can look it up?
not Quebec.
Not Quebec.
Or in Quebec, he would have got shot right before he entered the school.
In French. You didn't do it in French. Where's the wider word?
Let's. Well, the kid should have stayed home and played video games. You know, that would have been a better choice for him, right? Like, screw school. As a matter of fact, I believe if you still have any faith in education system, right? And I'm sure there are some good private schools or co-ops that you probably have to really search for to find where you can find education versus indoctrination, but which is really rare and probably impossible to find. Most parents send their kids to school is a babysitting, like, because, well, first of all, they have to, because you can't keep a kid.
They have to work.
They have to work. How old has to be the kid to stay home legally by himself in Quebec? 14, 13, 12? I forgot what the age is. Like something ridiculous, right?
Is that true?
Yeah, you cannot keep your kid at home by himself.
I was left alone for like when I was 7, I think.
Yeah, but you grew up in like
You have 9 lives.
You have 9
I
lives.
do have 9
Exactly.
lives.
it didn't matter, right? Well,
Do video games melt kids' brains? No, says a new study. What they don't tell you was the new study was funded by all the video game
games.
manufacturers.
Of course.
Well, you got to protect your business. You have special interests there.
Oh, what fuckery. Sorry.
Studies turned up
swearing
no
cat.
such links regardless of how long the children played and the types of games they choose. Ji Zhang, he looks like a computer engineer, video gaming
University
programmer.
of Houston
Associates
College.
professor. Oh, was that a racist comment? I just said the Asian guy must be.
Chinese are coming after you now.
Yeah. Or curriculum and instruction of University of Houston College of Education, and a member of the research team said in the press release Tuesday. Yeah, it's definitely some kind of Chi-Com thing, and it's also like they'd say in this. Okay, this is my take on this. They're saying this because with all those things that Elon Musk is doing now in terms of connecting brains directly to the computers and
Neuralink.
stuff. Like Neuralink. Yeah. So they say, oh, there's nothing wrong with kids being constantly on the smart devices and video games. Neuralink is good for them.
I actually read research as I have children, when I was raising boys and girls and difference. And first thing I remember looking at a lecture, and it said, whatever you do, don't introduce video games to boys in a young age. That it was had to do with goal and accomplishments and finishing tasks. That they were living in a different kind of world at that point.
No, they want the young boys to play video games, and they don't want the young boys to do physical conditioning and sports and weight training.
Sit home.
A new study highlights increasing prevalence of muscle dysmorphia among Canadian boys and young men.
So sad.
Really? A young fella starts training, gets really into it, then that's a muscle dysmorphia. But you could be overweight, and that's called, if I say that, I'm fat phobic. Listen, I owned gyms for 25 years. I did everything I can to help people who are overweight or underweight go to a better path towards their health. I'm not fat phobic at all.
Well,
Thank you for letting.
But here you go. There's a direct, there's two articles which I saw. The video games good for you, and then the Canadians have muscle dysfunction because of something, and you can't connect the dots. It's like a leading cause of death in the Western society, like countries like Canada, UK, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, is unknown causes.
Now you have people who were dying, supposedly dying, and hours later they're in the funeral home and they're coming back to life. I mean,
is that a zombie?
What? No, is what? Oh, she's dead enough?
No, but
let's get her out of here.
Zombie apocalypse is already starting. That's what it feels like to me.
How could somebody make a stupid mistake like that? That's a human life.
Apparently, it happens a lot.
Yeah, but we just listed half of the stupid mistakes. It's like, oh yeah, it doesn't work anymore. So yeah, the same way.
It's like the old Monty Python movies. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
Why don't they have the picture? Oh, that's.
But I'm not dead yet. Bang. Okay, now he's dead.
Okay, can you go down for a sec? It says part of the sun breaks free and forms a strange vortex, baffling sign. That's something I want to hear.
Oh, that's global news too. Okay.
Just came out this morning, just now.
Okay, let's read this. Okay.
What the
Something very strange is going on with the sun, and while it's a phenomenon that is baffling. When they use that word baffling, they baffled. They baffled why the medicine didn't work for the past 3 years. Yeah. It also has them very excited. Oh, they baffle, but they excited. The end of the world is here. The space weather forecast, Tamitha Skov shared a video sequence of a Twitter late last week that shows a huge filament of solar plasma breaking free from the sun surface. Talk about polar vortex. Material from northern prominence just broke away from the main filament, is now circulating a massive polar vortex around the north pole of the star. She tweeted on the footage taken by NASA.
I want to see the. Can you see the footage? Can you press it, or it's probably at bottom right there?
Right here. Let's do this.
Let's see when there's. Okay. All right.
Oh,
You saw it? That's it?
Is that it?
That's all they gave us? You see the top?
You know, there's not much we can do about the sun anyways. So what we should be focusing on more is what we can actually do here on the planet, macro-wise on the planet, when it comes to the government and the people who work in government. They call them politics. They're multi-ticks. Degenerates.
Yeah, that's politics. Well, the bloodsuckers, vampires, right? They eat kids and drink our blood. So what are you talking about? You talking about this news?
The central bankers want to take us to war so they can blame a changeover, a collapse, a reset on the war.
Too bad the
all
has
big
won.
wars are central bank wars. It's to cover up their overspending, their monetary system, their debt-based monetary system that just only functions if you have more debt in the system every year than you did in the previous year. Well, now that debt is starting to roll over, and it's crushing people everywhere.
Mainstream articles this week said, what to do when you lose $100,000 a year off your pension. Excuse me? That was one article, second article, third article. They're literally subconsciously preparing them that they're about to have zero on their accounts from their pensions.
Also, it says in Canada, the person retiring for a proper way of life is going to need about $1.7 million of net worth.
Wow.
For your retirement. That's your retirement number. Yeah. 1.7. Good to know.
Well, let's go back to investments. Find alternative investments, gold, silver. I don't know. Definitely, I don't. Glenn, what do you think about Bitcoin? You still have faith?
Well, I hope some people make money. They make a lot of money, but that money comes from other people who have lost a lot of money. You see, these are all financials. For one person's gain is another person's loss.
And in the new world, that's not going to work anymore. There's not going to be capitalistic. The one has all the wealth and the rest are suffering. Like, that's not going to exist in the new world. So the Bitcoin, that whole concept, let's talk about who owns Bitcoin, because that was a whole secret, right? And they had some guy, Toshiba, what was his name?
Nakamoto?
Yeah, like that. So come to find out, guess who owns Bitcoin? Your favorite person, George Soros.
Jorgi Schwartz.
Jorgi owns Bitcoin, so that makes you think.
He probably owned it in the beginning. He probably sold it when it was at 65,000.
I don't know why doesn't he go by his original name? Jorgi sounds so much better.
Jorgi Schwartz.
Jorgi.
George Soros sounds more Greek or something. So maybe he's just trying to hide
his identity.
What is his identity?
He's a Zionist.
Okay.
Khazarian.
He's a Zionist, just like the head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab.
Who looks like
they call him Charles Schwab.
Charles Schwab.
Yeah. And most of the economy is driven by war, like you said. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned that world that it may be heading towards the wider war as the risk of the further escalation of the Russian-Ukraine conflict rises. Okay, we got to stop calling it a Russian-Ukraine conflict. If it was a Russian-Ukraine conflict, there wouldn't be German tanks with crosses on them.
French, British.
American, French, British, all this technology.
Holland.
What is that? What's the masks internet thing called? The satellite link, whatever that is.
Link, yeah.
The
Starlink.
It wouldn't be Starlink they're sponsoring. They wouldn't get all this funding from the Western countries. Okay, granted, Ukrainian soldiers are dying. Russian soldiers are dying. But innocent people are dying. But they're also mercenaries there from all over the world. This is a world global conflict.
They're probably paid in Bitcoin too.
By Soros. Their Russian soldiers had said, there was a video, I'll try to pull it. They said that they weren't fighting Ukrainians. They were fighting black soldiers. They said most of them, they heard American speech, they heard English speech, and Polish speech. Yeah. That's the two main that they heard all the time. It wasn't Ukrainian-Russian speech that they were fighting.
Well, true story. I was flying to Russia last year in November last year. Not last year, year before that. I was flying to November a year before that, and there was Canadian military. I don't know if it was intelligence or some kind of officer. He was flying into Europe, like Baltic states, and they already knew the conflict was going to happen.
Yeah.
They were preparing, and for many, many years. It wasn't just that few months before that.
2015. No, 2005. Senator Barack Obama made a visit to Ukraine. There's a whole lot of published on that.
Yeah, we can go into this. Let's talk about that, actually, if you want to talk about a military being sent.
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's governments being controlled by non-government organizations using their military defense for offensive purposes, getting into other countries' business all the time for their own personal profit. We have the same thing going on in Canada.
Okay, but go ahead.
Canada sends a military aircraft into Haiti skies as gang violence escalates.
What are they going to do?
But what? We don't have an escalating gang violence problem in Canada? Maybe they should fly that plane back here and start surveying what the escalating over here. Let's try and fix our own problems in our own backyard first. Let's take care of ourselves.
Let's fly around. Let's fly around the Parliament building, right? That's the biggest gang in Canada. That's how I see it.
Which is closed. The Parliament building is still closed and under construction.
Canada's immigration backlog shows little change from January. There's 2.1 million people who are applying to become citizens of Canada. And the state of New York, the city of New York, is actually busing asylum seekers
here
up north to here. It says, here, let's let them go and infiltrate Canada.
They were walking through the border, remember that?
Yeah, we're all immigrants, but there are ways to do it. Now you have 2.1 million people who are applying the regular way, and just in Quebec last year you had 90,000 people walking across the border, getting in front of the queue into the line saying, I'm here for asylum. You have to take care of me.
What do you think this is about? Like, is it like why they doing such humongous population shifts?
Well, it's amazing that this is going on in America is busing them here. In other words, you have a very porous border, in Texas, in north of Mexico. That's no problem. And they complain, the Congress people complain all the time. You have all these people coming across the border.
There's no safe borders.
And so they send them to different places. And then when those places don't want as many, then they send the rest up in here to Canada. And we already have a backlog of people who want to come here through the legal channels. I'm a proponent of immigration, but you do it legally.
Legally. I always said that. Why can I have
You
to
come
do it
here for our
legally?
freedoms. You don't come here for our free things.
Well, how much money they're receiving when they cross the border? That's another one.
That'd be our
Financial help.
The tax dollars could never cover the amount of money that the government is spending.
Spending on them.
But
Putting
your
them in
pensions
hotels.
can. But your pensions can.
Well, that's what they're using the pensions probably.
Right. Actually, let's go back to the
Pensions.
Haiti
Let's
story. I
talk
just
about
want
the
to mention.
G-Fund.
I just want to notice one thing on the Haiti story. Is that the actual plane that they sent?
I was gonna say that
What is
because
that?
what is that plane?
What is that plane? Does it even fly?
It's exactly. I was like, that does not look okay.
That looks really old. What kind of plane?
But
is
they
that?
don't have anything military wise. Again, they're giving away everything.
Aurora, CP-140 Aurora, like that can't even make it anywhere. Like, what do you do with that plane?
Maybe they're hoping it gets shot down over there.
Canada has sent everything that they had to Ukraine. So now they're saying we need money to buy more. And people, why are you sending our last helicopters and guns and everything to Ukraine? What is this?
Money, 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 money. Here the government's throwing money everywhere. And
Except where it
people
needs
wondering
to.
why we have inflation, because this money is coming from central banks just printing more of it, giving it to the government, increasing the debt, which is on our shoulders, and we're going to have to pay this forward. Okay? $173 million The government invested in a company in Quebec that is now shutting down, is Medicago.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be making all these shots, darts, you know. There's another human dartboard, too. Let's get him.
Wow. You're
They
on point.
threw money at Air Canada. They throw money at Bombardier. Who is the government to pick the winners? Who are you? I mean, if you're so good at it, then maybe the government should have its own mutual fund and should pick all the winners. That way we would be assured that we'd make so much money. But no, they seem to be throwing money at companies that really don't have a very good future. So you're bailing out somebody on our backs. And I'm sure you're being remunerated back for that, aren't you?
Biggest investor and benefactor of the lab that's closed is our favorite Lego.
Oh, Mr. Legault.
No, Mr.
There's
Lego
no
benefiting
conflict
from
of interest.
it.
There's no conflict of interest.
At all.
Yeah,
I can't
for
wait
sure.
to call him Mr. Legon. Goodbye, brother.
Well,
Now, because of the inflation this creates, they have to raise the interest rates. They raise the interest rate, and now you have 80% of variable rate mortgage
Mortgages
borrowers.
are closing. Yep, defaulting.
They're at their trigger rate, where they're at their max, okay? Now, 30% of all outstanding mortgages are variable rate. So in other words, of the whole amount of people that own mortgages, 24% of them are at their turning point. A lot of these properties are going to come up for sale again, which is going to drive the price of real estate down again.
Wow. Did you see this?
what?
The former chief,
Uh,
they've been convicted of sexual assault.
yeah, the former.
Oh, it's not the...
The top doctor of BC's Interior Health. These weirdos, they're everywhere. They got to go. They're all over the place. They're in government. They're in big corporations.
Found guilty of child sex assault. That's awful.
There was an Alberta mother who was charged with sexual abuse of a toddler after one of the few things the FBI is doing good lately. The FBI gave her a tip, or gave them a tip to go and arrest her. All right. Sextortion cases of boys are spiking worldwide. I mean, who buys this stuff? What's wrong with these people?
Well, how the sextortion case works? Do they actually have it described here? I mean, I think I know what it is. Sextortion cases where child are coerced into sending explicit images online before being extorted for money are increasingly dramatic, with more boys falling prey, warns the Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team.
What a world we live in.
Well, that's the dangers of.
I'll give you another point of
Going
sextortion.
online, yeah.
As a young bodybuilder in a big gym where there were a lot of bodybuilders, there was this rich fellow who used to come into the gym, and he would try and solicit guys to go to his mansion when he would have parties. Okay? All his male friends would come over. And he would pay the bodybuilders small fortunes to walk around the party naked.
Like butt naked, or just wearing at least
naked, not wearing anything. No fig leaf,
string,
nothing.
Okay.
This is still,
And when I found out about that,
is it still around?
they told me, "Oh no, he would never come and ask you because he's afraid of you." You think?
It's okay, man. I mean, sometimes when you're down on your luck, what's wrong with that? You walk around, naked, just get some money.
Why not sell my soul to the devil?
Yeah.
Money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money. And when you sacrifice moral integrity for money, you're going to damage yourself. Okay? So when I heard that, I was actually repulsed. So it's been going on for millennia, this sextortion, or
well, sex is the tool of the devil. It's one of those things, right? This is how we can get into. It's done for procreation. Okay, I'll give you a sex story. The sex is important to us because that's how we procreate. Is humans.
No.
If you go, I discovered it by accident, right? And
that's right, you're a father.
But then walking, just fell on the vagina.
And then
Sorry.
twice. And then Here's a story. Eve was the first one to eat the fruit of the tree.
Oh, we're really gonna go that way.
Yeah, we're going to go
Oh,
that
I don't
way.
think we
No,
should.
we should. And then she tasted the fruit, and then she came to Adam and said, "Adam, now you should taste the fruit." And he's like, "No, this, the God told me not to taste this. This is the covenant I've made, and this is the law, blah, blah, blah." She's like, "But Adam, if you don't eat it, we won't be able to procreate." And that's the contrast between this is something we need to do as humanity, but there's some darkness in that space. And that's why I believe cases like this, former London police officer sentenced to 30 years in prison for a catalog of sexual assaults. I actually don't know. Is that a Me Too movement, by the way? Or was it actual assaults?
No, it's actual sexual assaults. That's police. Pants down, hands up.
Police apparently rape a lot. There's a lot of not.
I know a lot of good policemen.
I do too.
And they don't like.
But there's a lot of bad apples too.
Oh, there's bad apples everywhere. We've just been covering government.
But the ones that are holding guns that I'm afraid of.
We've been going for an hour, fellas.
What about the last thing? Biden.
Well, what about it?
His
State of the Union?
putrid State of the Union address to the divided states of America.
I didn't even see.
The amount of crap that was coming out of this guy's mouth is ridiculous. I mean,
watched that?
if you can't discern the truth from the fake, phony, and false from there, you better start in grade 1 again. You got to start over, okay?
Yeah. There's no hope for you.
So that's a good note to finish on, brothers and sisters. This has been a really amazing show. We are lucky for you to tune in because we are happy to share our energy with you and our thoughts and our love and our light. Stay tuned for more. And thank you, Anonymous, and thank you, Glenn, for this wonderful show. And we'll see you on the next one.